Annie Louisa was born on Lake Conda. There is a place there where her birthing tree grows. She lived with her mother and father. Annie was the baby of 8 children. Sid Jones and Annie Louisa. Sid Jones and Annie Louisa. Annie Louisa met her husband to be. She first set her eyes on Sid, driving an Oldsmobile. They fell in love then on Goodrich, Maryland. Then they got married and their life just began. Sid Jones and Annie Louisa. Sid Jones and Annie Louisa. Yeah. Sid Jones and Annie Louisa. Sid Jones and Annie Louisa. Annie Louisa gave birth to 10 children. Sid was a fighter from the old tent boxer. Sid worked on the railroad, laying down those sleepers. They shed their lives for 51 years. Sid Jones and Annie Louisa. Sid Jones and Annie Louisa. Yeah. Annie Louisa. Thank you very much. Dear old darlings, they're like a father to me, what? It's a song about family, eh? Sing a lot of songs about family and country, eh? But this one about my brothers. I never got the chance to grow up with my sisters. And I don't know, I can write music, but I can't write a letter. Do you have that problem sometimes? And I ended up writing this because my brothers and sisters I met, about 15 years ago, they live in South Australia, and it was just me and my brother were here, and a dear old mum. She did a lot of journeying, and went back home and then had some more children that we didn't know of. And so, because we didn't grow up and we don't have that bondship and kinship, I ended up writing this song, being the oldest sibling. It's called Close My Eyes. Hello, my brothers. How you been? Haven't seen your faces in a long, long time. So what you been doing? Hope you're fine. Hope your families are well. Look deep inside and go back in time. I'll picture us then, way, way back when, to a younger time, when I close my eyes. Well, I'm doing okay, my family's well. The kids are growing up just fine. I got a call the other day from Adelaide. Our two sisters gave birth to their baby boys. I close my eyes, look deep inside, and go back in time. I picture us then, way, way back when, to a younger time, when I close my eyes. Hey, play it for me, Scott Wilson. Play it again, brother. And go back in time. I'll picture us then, way, way back when, to a younger time, when I close my eyes. Hey, bring it down now, brother. For the boys, my words have arrived. After all these times, yeah, 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 yeah. I close my go back in time. I picture us then, way back when, to younger time. When I close my eyes, when I close my eyes. Woo! When I close my eyes. Thank you very much, eh?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Lighthouse Theatre's 2016 theatre season launch. My name's Michael Frawley, and as the new manager of the Lighthouse Theatre, I'm really pleased to join you all in 2016 for what is going to be a fantastic year of live theatre. A theatre is, after all, a community, and for that reason I'm very glad to be becoming a part of yours this year. Welcome firstly to our Warrnambool City Council councillors, members of the council executive. Welcome to representatives of our major sponsors, Deakin University, our media partner The Standard, our accommodation provider Quest Apartments, our presentation partners Star Printing, Tate Legal and ABC Local Radio. Welcome too to you, our loyal subscribers. I really hope that you've enjoyed 2015 as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. As we begin this evening, may I just ask, how about another round of applause for Mr. Dave Arden and his amazing music to start us off? Now, you'll be hearing a little bit more from Dave as we go this evening. Dave is actually bringing a show to us in Warrnambool next year. But we have a lot of excellent productions to talk to you about tonight. So before we begin, well, we really should get started. We've got a lot of ground to cover. Let's start, if we may, with the laughs, because every theatre needs them. Our very first show for 2016 comes from the oldest culture on earth, with the freshest and funniest stand-up comedy around. It's the all-original Aboriginal Comedy Showcase. It features 4 of Australia's funniest homegrown comics, and comedy literally doesn't get any more Australian than this. Let's take a quick look.
Never do that, man. You know, like I had this, I went out clubbing last week and this girl came up to me and she was doing, "Oh, you got something in you? What do you got in you?" But she was like, "Are you Maltese? You look Maltese. Has anyone ever told you you look Maltese?" And I got really offended because I was blind drunk and I forgot that Maltese was the nationality, right? Like I thought she was talking about the dog, you know, like I thought, Bruce, right, like we all know Dreamtime stories, How the Platypus Got Its Bill, the Quenkins. I love those stories. And you know, I know modern day Indigenous people, we don't believe in Dreamtime stories like it's some kind of religious gospel to follow fanatically, right? You know, like you'll never get a whole bunch of Aboriginal people walking up and down your street trying to knock on your door in nice suits. Trying to give you a pamphlet that says, "Have you found the rainbow serpent?"
Okay, so the young man that you've just seen there is a young fella from Queensland by the name of Matt Ford. You'll also be meeting Kevin Cropanieri, Shirley Hood and Andrew Saunders. Together, these homegrown performers make up 4 of the brightest comedy stars underneath the Southern Cross. And while we're talking comedy, while we're talking big laughs, a fixture in our program returns next year in the Melbourne Comedy Festival Roadshow. It's back with us in June. Now, over the years, our audiences have seen some of the best comedians on their way up. We're talking Ross Noble, Corinne Grant, Tripod, Cal Wilson. The list goes on. Essentially, what we're looking at is 2.5 hours, 5 of the greatest comedians that you're likely to see and who, you know, may very well be names you'll see further down the track. It's going to be a lot of fun. While we're talking about fun, though, we should probably talk about a show that the whole family can enjoy. Snugglepot and Cuddlepie are Australian icons. The Gumnut Babies have entertained generations of Aussie kids and graced everything from ballet to tea towels to biscuit tins over the last 100 years. In 2016, these iconic characters are back in a special performance here at the theatre, in your pyjamas, if you will, ladies and gents, to introduce a whole new generation to the magical world of May Gibbs. Let's take a quick look.
This is May Gibbs speaking. I could draw almost as soon as I could talk. I thought of the name Snugglepot for a book on Gumnut Babies, but I could not get another name. I wanted 2. And one night I thought of Snugglepot, Cuddlepie.
I want to see a human. Are you completely off your nut? Why not? They sound amazing, Cuddlepie. I don't want to just stay on my tree in the same branch for the rest of my life. Are you coming? Snugglepot. I'll protect you. I promise. But we must see a human.
Yes, but only from a distance.
Not even from a distance. It's not safe, I tell you. But don't say I didn't warn you.
Banksia Man is coming!
Banksia Man!
You're the best foster brother I've ever had.
I'm the only foster brother you've ever had.
Oh. Was that a... Could that be... Was that a human?
What a gorgeous little show. So please, as I say, this is a special pyjama performance. Come along in your pyjamas. We will be. Our staff will be in our pyjamas as well. It's at a family-friendly time. We're keen to make sure that as many families as possible are able to come along and enjoy affordable, easy, nice nights out. Now, on to the meaty stuff, if we will, the drama. Of course, it wouldn't be a year at the theatre without some quality drama, right? In 2016, we have for you 3 remarkable performances. Love, laughs, sex, death, revenge, all the really good stuff. Let's begin with Educating Rita. Now, this is a really charming romantic comedy, a modern-day Pygmalion, if you will, when a cynical, burnt-out English professor, Frank, meets naive young hairdresser with a thirst for knowledge, Rita. He takes it on himself to educate her and to introduce her to the so-called educated class. Now, this play's been written by Willie Russell of Shirley Valentine fame. And Educating Rita it's really about what happens when 2 very different worlds collide with 2 hearts at the middle of them. Here's the stars of the show, Colin Moody and Francesca Bianchi, to tell you a little bit more.
I think there's a lot of humour in it's got some quite dark aspects, but they're dealt with very humorously, which to me enhances the depth and the darkness. I think it's a challenging piece of theatre potentially for an audience in a really good way. I think it's life affirming. Very challenging role because it absolutely resonates for all sorts of reasons. Not to put too much of a cliche on it, but midlife crisis.
I'm excited about educating Rita, playing Rita, because I think it's one of those stories that just for maybe, even if it's just one, but it has the potential to really touch quite a few individuals. Brave, and everyone's told her one thing, that she's this one thing, and so many people get boxed, and it's not necessarily your parents' fault or society's fault. You just slot in. It's genuinely enjoyable. You get a little bit of a taste of the English humour. It's
a well respected, tried and tested piece of theatre. It clearly does resonate with people.
Okay, so next let's take a trip to small town Bowen Gabby, where the elderly abound and Meals on Wheels is a boom industry. We all know a little town like it, I'm sure. When Oscar left, he swore that he would never, ever come back. But then Aunt Jeannie died. And not even Oscar could refuse. And then the rest start dropping like flies. So when Oscar meets Abby, literally the girl next door, with his own wedding just weeks away, his whole world turns on its head as funerals become fun and life becomes something to celebrate. Bryce Youngman is the actor in this piece. It's a one-man powerhouse, and along the way he takes us through a series of increasingly bizarre funerals, from burials at sea and amateur musicals through to a scale recreation of the Normandy landings, to look at life, loss, and the type of love that hits you like a truck. Let's take a quick look at Bryce in action.
Oscar had never known love. For though his mother loved him dearly, she had died soon after his birth, leaving behind a baby boy, half orphaned, and a husband new to grief, with only the fast-fading memory of her love. And though Oscar had dated many girls and now boasted a fiancée, Ruth, these had all been little loves, beginning with little L's and always ending in a whimper, not a bang, Oscar. They were not the kind of love that hit you like a truck. Not the kind of love that might break your back.
A thousand votives burned, rich tapestries hung, and in the distance glowed an altar of solid gold, supporting the simple wooden coffin of Sir Alexei Molotoviev. And standing guard atop it, like a miniature lion, fearsome and proud, the newborn taxidermy titan, Rasputin. He laid eyes on the girl. The ground seemed to tremble. Something exploded in his chest, sending a shockwave through the rail car. The lights seemed to flare. The tiny windows rattled, and some 24 pacemakers went critical.
So, from the relative simplicity of Death in Bow and Gabby, we move to the grand opulence of the Yorkshire Moors. From the company that brought us 1984 in 2014 comes a gripping adaptation of Emily Bronte's Gothic masterpiece, Wuthering Heights. Now, this is a technically stunning show. Beautiful sets, beautiful costumes, and I should warn you, if you're sitting in the front rows, the storms of the moor are coming. More than this, though, Wuthering Heights is a dark, brooding tale of obsession, of jealousy, of love and revenge. Let's take a quick look. Oh, doesn't it give you goosebumps? So, now from classical literature to some of the best stories never written down. And I'm talking here about the work of the storyteller, these captivating entertainers who take their own stories, the remarkable experiences of their lives or their circumstances, and use them to illustrate our worlds. Now, this evening you've already met Dave Arden and his incredible voice. Let's invite him back on stage now to talk to us a little bit about the show he's bringing next year. How about a round of applause? G'day, Dave. Are we on?
Hello? Yep.
G'day, we're on.
Hi.
Fantastic. So, Dave, welcome to Warrnambool, firstly. Thank you very much for coming down.
Thank you very much. Good coming back home.
Yeah, great to have you.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about your show next year.
The show took around about, I suppose, 10 years in the making, around my head and pulling everything out. But it's a show's about, it's about Gunditj Mara Gugutha, songman storyteller. And so, and I'm telling the story, I suppose, but it's about 5 generations. 5 generations of all the songs of 30 years, playing music and telling stories through song.
Yep. Okay. And so you were telling me earlier that a lot of the stories, a lot of the songs are from around this area.
Yeah, from, Lake Conda, as I was saying before, from Lake Conda and Framingham, and in Cassidy, where the Ardens come from, Cassidy out, past Hamilton.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's just, there's many stories, between, the Mission Days, the Anzacs, Gallipoli, two grandfathers, fought in, the First and Second War, the uncles, Uncle Reg Saunders was a famous one, who's Captain Reg Saunders, which I wrote a song called Freedom Calls, and, just telling, intimate personal stories, which leads right back to my, great-grandfather, James Arden, right to me. So 4 generations, of stories, and, just taking people on a personal story, and lifestyle, and just another Australian story, another Indigenous Australian story.
It's an amazing set of, I guess, histories to be able to put together. Now, tell me, on stage, is it just yourself and your guitarist Scott Wilson, or is there more to the show?
Yeah, it's pretty much of a full production, a 7-piece band, but at the same time, the songs journey with the photos, beautiful slideshow that references the stories that I'm telling, from the old, 1800 photos to right up to today,
Great.
and it sort of gives you an idea of what and who I'm talking about, and singing about.
Now, our next storyteller is a man who has known his share of controversy, Rod Quantock. Oh, I hear a ripple move through the room. That's great. Rod Quantock has been a stand-up and, in fact, more recently a sit-down comedian for about the last 50 years. His particular brand of highly political storytelling delivers bitingly funny insights into the headlines of the day. Now, in 2016, Rod's bringing us a show that he wrote called Boredom Protection Policy. This show was actually originally written in 2002. He returns to the same show 14 years later to compare today's headlines to those of yesterday. And along the way, he shows us that the more things change, the more things stay the same. So here's the man himself on Channel 31, straight from Melbourne, talking a little bit about what he does.
People coming to see the tall man with the beard, follow me. We're going through this door. We're going hard right, hard left, hard right. Follow me, please. Here we go. Have your tickets ready, please. Tickets, please. Have your tickets ready, please. Tickets, please. Have your tickets ready, please. Tickets, please. Young people, thank heavens for young people. Very nice of you to be here. Lovely to have you. How are you? I hope you have a very pleasant evening. I'm very well, thank you. Good of you to be here. Very nice. Hello, how are you? Very good of you to make it. Oh, some people just squeeze you into their line.
Political comedy, it's absolutely, undoubtedly your shtick. Politicians are constantly embarrassing themselves. Do you ever fear that you...
Oh, it's too easy.
Yeah, that's
much
right.
Too easy. Yeah, absolutely, much too easy. So, and look, I'm not averse to an easy joke. I think that's only fair at my time of life. But you get to a point where making a joke about a joke is a bit pointless, really. It's the forces that allow those people to get into power and stay in power and to do the things they do. So that's what really interests me. That's not funny, but then my job is to make that funny.
Now, from politics to war zones. War zones, of course, breed incredible stories. One of the many reasons that they're called theatres of conflict, I suppose. From our most recent engagement in Afghanistan, Fred Smith brings us Dust of Uruzgan in 2016. Now, Fred is here to introduce you to the show right now. So that's enough for me. I'll press this little button here, and I think we're ready to go.
I'm Fred Smith, and I'm one of Australia's leading Rod Quantock impersonators. In the ring they call me Warlord, my mother calls me Paul. You can call me Private Warren when you're filing your report. As to how I came to be here, this is what I understand. In this hospital in Germany from the dust of Uruzgan. Well, I had just turned 28 and just bought a new car when I joined the 1st Battalion of the Big 1 RAR. And we were next up for deployment into South Afghanistan to combat the insurgents in the dust of Uruzgan. Well, it took 7 months of training just to get into the joint. There were push-ups and procedures, and there was death by PowerPoint, and then the RSO&I course in Ali Al-Salam. But nothing can prepare you for the dust of Uruzgan. And me and Benny sat together, flying into Kandahar, and we sucked back on our near beers in the Camp Baker bar. We were up at 05:30 and on the Hurricane out. In 20 flying minutes we were into Taran Kout, and we shook hands as the boys ripped out from MRTF1. And pretty soon we're out patrolling in the Afghan summer sun, walking through the green zone with a star in my hand, body armour chafing through the dust of Uruzgan. Well, we started up near Chora, working 14 hours a day, mentoring a Kandak from the Afghan 4th Brigade, down through the Baluchi into eastern Darfshan, working under open skies in the dust of Uruzgan. Well, it's a long, long way from Townsville, not like any place you've seen. Suddenly you're walking through the 14th century. Women under burqas and tribal warlords rule a land full of goats and muck and jingle trucks as the dust of Uruzgan. And the education minister can neither read nor write, and the minister for women runs a knock shop there at night. They've been fighting there forever over water, food and land, murdering each other in the dust of Uruzgan. It was a quiet Saturday morning when the two shop made a call on a compound of interest to the east of Kopmashol. We had some information that they were building IEDs, and so we cordoned and we searched it in accord with SOPs. Well, I was on the west flank picket, propped there with Ben, there to keep a watchful eye out while the other blokes went in. We knew the signs of danger from the TTPs we'd learned, but the Nationals were moving back and forth without concern. I'd been static there for hours when I shifted slightly back. My foot tripped an AP mine and everything went black. I woke up on the gurney, flat out on my back. Cable back to Canberra recommending countermeasures, including biometric testing for Dutch tourists at the border and passing an electric current through the Sydney Harbour Bridge. The cable was not well received. But we had a more immediate problem in the base insofar as the Dutch soldiers were swaffling in the Dixies. Now, the Dixies were the blue plastic portaloos, such as you might see at the Port Fairy Folk Festival. And, these Dixies were the only dunnies on the base, and they were the dunny, and as such, they were sacred space for your Australian soldiers. This is where your digger writes his poetry. And so I had to do something about it, and I wrote the following song called Nit Swafflen op de Dixie, which is Dutch for don't swing your dick in the portaloo. Sing along. I've heard that when the Taliban held power in Kabul, they messed up people's lives with lots of silly rules. Women were illegal, and so was flying kites. And God defend the kind of men who like to dress in tights. I wouldn't want to be like Taliban and tell you what to do. I'm fighting here for freedom after all, just like you. I respect your lowlands culture and I love you very much. But there is one important thing I say to all you Dutch. 2, 3, 4, nip, swaffling up the Dixie. It's against the law. Sing along now. Nip, swaffling up the Dixie. We're trying to fight a war. And if you're swaffling in that Dixie like a Dixie swaffling man, how the hell are we supposed to defeat the Taliban? So nip, swaffling up the Dixie. Nip, 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 swaffling up the Dixie. There isn't enough room. If I hear that you have been swaffling in that Dixie, I'll tell Brigadier Van Oom, and he'll have you court-martialed and sent back to The Hague, where they'll put your dick on a table and whack it with a spade. So net, swaffling up the Dixie, net, net, net. Anyway, there are more verses to this song, Nit Swaffling Up the Dixie, and you can hear them if you come along and see the show. But I should finish by explaining what happened in the end. The Dutch eventually withdrew from Oerisgan province. Some people think this happened as a result of the collapse in the political coalition in The Hague, but in fact it was my prohibition on Dixie swaffling that broke the will of the Dutch military, and they withdrew from the province in August of 2010. And it was a very tough summer, you know, pulling out of the place for them, and they'd felt disappointed to be leaving, and 1,000 Americans came in to replace them, so the base was chocker and the lines at the mess were long and the Dixies were full. And then to make matters worse, the Dutch lost the World Cup soccer final. They'd got into the final for the third time and lost the match, and that really broke their hearts. So to cheer them up, I put on a concert on the 18th of July that year and played it, a final verse just to thank them for their contribution to the province. Well, Dutch friends, I've heard you're leaving. I know you've made this plan because swaffling's become illegal here in Oerisgan. But when you're back in Holland, you can swaffle what you like. You can swaffle in a windmill. You can swaffle in a dike. You can swaffle in a hash pipe in Leiden or Geleen, but you can't swaffle the World Cup because the fucking thing's in Spain. So net, swaffling up the Dixie. Net, net, net. Thank you very much. Hope to see you.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for Fred Smith, please. Thank you. I'll certainly think twice before shaking a Dutchman's hand. So, 2016, where are we? Sorry, that was all very distracting. 2016, the classics. Now, from opera to ballet and remarkable chamber music, world-class productions of an international standard are on their way to Warrnambool next year. The first of those I'll mention is Opera Australia, returning in 2016 with Mozart's The Marriage of Figaro. This is a brand new production from Michael Gow and Robert Kemp, following the adventures of a household over one crazy day. Masters lust over their servants, servants outwit their masters. It's a little bit like Downton Abbey, only more fun. As always, 2016's Oz Opera production will be sung in English and performed with a full chamber orchestra on stage. Just like 2014's visit with Magic Flute, there will also be a chorus of local children joining the professionals on stage. So this is promising to be a really delightful night out for the whole family, an opportunity for young local performers to get on stage with seasoned professionals, and a just splendid production from Australia's flagship opera. In fact, while we're talking flagships, the next show that I'll speak to you about is our nation's flagship ballet. The Dancers Company is the Australian Ballet's touring company. This is their regional arm, made up of graduates from the Australian Ballet School, along with seasoned performers who've trod the boards for the Australian Ballet for many years. In 2016, they'll be bringing Giselle to Warrnambool. Now, this is ballet at its finest and most opulent. Think white tutus, think classical technique, and just this beautiful, transcendent love story. Let's take a quick look now.
Well, the story of Giselle is about a young peasant girl who actually falls in love with a prince who's in disguise, and he's engaged to the Duke's daughter, Bathilde. It really is about love and betrayal, and that wonderful sense of forgiveness that Giselle embodies, really, by forgiving the man who double-crossed her and then saving his life. So Giselle is from the Romantic period, and Romantic period was really those really classic ballets like La Sylphide and where it was always about a gentleman who had his life changed by a woman or a sylph or an imagined being. It's one of our most beautiful productions. It's designed by Peter Farmer, who's one of the great English designer, and it's very painterly and it's very romantic in a funny sort of way. The dresses in the second act are all very soft and beautiful, very atypical ballet.
Absolutely gorgeous. It's going to be one of the must-see shows for next year. I really must stress that. Now, while we're talking great romantic works, I am incredibly pleased to announce that next year we will have a visit by acclaimed pianist Piers Lane performing Chopin by Candlelight. So imagine for a moment, if you will, this stage. I don't have accompanying video for this, so you'll have to use your imaginations. Imagine, if you will, this stage with a grand piano set centre stage with no other illumination than a host of candles, and a spellbinding evening of some of the most romantic music ever written. Magical. Now, for those of you who may not know the name, Piers Lane holds a unique place in classical music. He is one of Australia's most internationally renowned pianists. He's performed in all of the great concert halls of the world, and is also the artistic director of the Australian Festival of Chamber Music and the Sydney International Piano Competition. So a remarkably accomplished man. Then, from piano, we change gears to strings. The Melbourne Chamber Orchestra has recently formed the Australian Octet. Now, this is a unique group of performers in Australian music. The Australian Octet are actually one of only 2 professional string octets in the world dedicated to performing music for 5 to 8 strings. As for Schubert's string quintet, in 1828, only 2 months before his untimely death at age 31, Schubert completed what would be his only string quintet. And it nearly ended there. For 2 decades after his death, it sat unperformed until it became recognised as the work of incredible skill and emotion and beauty that it is. We're fortunate to have just the smallest snippet of rehearsal from this work in development, so this is taken directly from the Recital Centre in Melbourne. Let's take a quick look. Beautiful, yeah? Now, I mentioned earlier that we were in for somewhat of a spectacular year next year. That spectacle does not come much bigger than Circus Oz. So, Circus Oz is a flagship of the Australian arts, one of our biggest and most recognisable cultural exports. For the last 35 years, they have performed in countless cities across the world. Next year, they're bringing their show to Warrnambool. Their massive shows bring together an ensemble of acrobats, of musical performers, of storytellers, and mix it all together with a real dash of knockabout larrikin humour. Here now by video, we have one of the founding members of Circus Oz, Tim Caldwell, to tell you about what they're planning for 2016.
My name's Tim Caldwell. I've been working in various capacities here at Circus Oz for about 35 years.
I can't believe it! Here comes the
Most of the time I've been here, I've been a performer. I've walked upside down on the roof, and I started off as a high wire artist. I did a hand balancing act on a stack of chairs, trumpet player and a tuba player and a saxophone player. So I've been doing all those things in the band. I've sometimes been the MC or the ringmaster. I've also been the tent boss, and I've directed some of the shows. From 2016, we're putting together a new show, for which I'm at the moment coordinating, putting together the team to put the show together, which will include a director and a designer, but mostly will be based around the ensemble.
I guess the thing about Circus Oz is that what we're actually presenting in the theatre is a relatively small ensemble, trying to produce a show which has as much variety in it as a big circus show. It'll have bits of genuine circus clowning. It'll have breathtaking solo trapeze up in the air. It'll have crazy knockabout group acrobatics, a crazy flying trapeze act, a highly skilled Chinese pole act and hand balancing act, fabulous big group juggling act, stand-up comedy, clowns, musical comedy, all together in the one show from the one group of people. We can't wait to bring it to you in 2016.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are nearly at an end, and thank you for your patience this evening. Before we go out on a high, though, the best way to make the most of next year's season is to become a subscriber. Simply choose 4 or more of the shows from this wonderful booklet, which you'll be receiving on your way out of the theatre this evening, to make sure that you receive a discount in advance of, up to 20% off your ticket prices. Now, our subscribers also enjoy additional privileges like the best seats in the house, the ability to put off paying until the week of the show, or to swap tickets with other shows, exclusive post-show suppers and special family prices for certain shows, etc., etc. I won't bore you with the details. Please, take a booklet tonight, join us in 2016, select the shows that you'd like to come to, and do get along. Now, our theatre season cannot happen without the very generous support from a number of sources. Firstly, I'd like to welcome back and say a big thank you to our principal season sponsor, Deakin University. We really look forward to continuing our strong relationship with both staff and students of Deakin. We also welcome back our media partners in the Standard newspaper. Thank you to everyone at the Standard, and we look forward to a very successful partnership in the year ahead. I'm very glad to welcome Quest Warrnambool as Lighthouse Theatre's preferred accommodation supplier in 2016. It is an absolute relief to know that our performers, when they come, are treated like family and have a place to call home just nearby. In particular, some thanks to our presentation partners this year. A special thank you to Tate's Legal, in particular Jamie and David, who continue their association as presentation partners for Piers Lane next year with Chopin by Candlelight. We also welcome back ABC Local Radio as our presentation partner for 5 of our shows next year. Also, a big heartfelt thank you to Jeremy from the ABC for his valuable support in letting you all know about our upcoming shows. Also, Star Printing, who helped in the production of these amazing booklets, which you'll be receiving on your way out this evening. They've partnered with us next year to present 3 of the shows in our season. So thank you, Matt, and all of the others at Star for your support. On a more global scale, touring a nation as big as ours, bringing all of these shows to Warrnambool is a very expensive business. Our federal and state governments have contributed through Playing Australia and Creative Victoria to make many of the tours that we have next year possible. And of course, our theatre, our community, could not happen without Warrnambool City Council's commitment to this venue and to the quality performing arts experiences that make up the 2016 season. So, thank you. Thank you also to the Lighthouse Theatre staff and volunteers who work so hard to make this place run so seamlessly. And, yeah, please, thank you, actually. But the biggest thank you of all, ladies and gentlemen, is to yourselves. Thank you for being a part of our theatre and part of our community in 2015. I'm really looking forward to getting an opportunity to meet each and every one of you over the next 12 months. Please, if you see me in a foyer, grab me, say hi, tell me what you liked, tell me what you didn't. Let's talk theatre. I'd love to. Now, there is one show missing by omission from what I've presented to you so far tonight. I've left deliberately one of our first shows for the year till last. We have the Diamonds joining us on April 1st, 3 sensationally talented young women, along with a full band playing tribute to the original divas of soul, rock and pop. Let's take a quick look at the video.
You better think about what you're trying to do to me. Yeah, think, let your mind go, let your soul be free. Live for you, forever. You stay in my heart and I will love you. Sugar pie, honey bunch, you know that I love you. R.E.S.P. straight here, dark panties to me. We now take you back to Motor City, Detroit, aka Motown. We celebrate the 70s, the divas of disco. I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. I want you. It's raining there. Hallelujah, it's raining there. So we've done the Sisters of Soul, the Magic of Motown, and the Divas of Disco. This girl is on fire. This girl is on fire. There ain't no other way. Baby, I was born this way. Right track, baby, I was born this way. Hey. We are the Diamonds.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I know that that's just enough to whet your appetite, but to give you a proper preview of the show, please join me in giving a great big hand, a round of applause to Shakai Smith from the Diamonds.
In the name of love, before you break my heart. Baby, I'm aware of where you go. Each time you leave my door, I watch you walk down the street, knowing your other love you'll need. But this time before you run to her, leaving me all alone and hurt. After I've been good to you, after I've been sweet to you, stop in the name of love before you break my heart. Stop in the name of love before you break my heart. Think it over. Think it over. The moment I wake up, before I put on my makeup, I sail it on for you. I comb in my hair now and wonder what dress to wear now. I sail it on for you. Forever. You'll stay in my heart and I will love you forever and ever. We never will part. Oh, how I love you together. That's how it must be to live without you. Would only mean heartbreak for me. My darling, believe me. For me, there so much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very much looking forward to coming back here at the beautiful Lighthouse Theatre, along with my other two gorgeous diamonds for our full concert show on April 1st. See you there.